Okay, well, as we told you earlier, biotechnology company Sequenom dismissed its CEO and announced its planned launch of a new prenatal test for Down syndrome may be delayed for more than a year. Now, joining me now is Raghuram Selvaraju. He's the analyst who first brought this company and its struggles to our attention about 6 months ago, and he's the head of healthcare research at Hapoalim Securities. And Ram, thanks so much for joining us. You actually downgraded the stock today based on this news, right?
That's correct.
Okay. This company has had struggles with this prenatal testing for quite some time. So what is the difference today, though? I mean, why is this stock getting so pummeled right now?
I think it's primarily due to comments that the interim management, who have replaced the people who have been dismissed, made on a conference call yesterday, where they disclosed for the first time that perhaps the main problem here is sensitivity of the Down syndrome test. It's using maternal blood, and they're trying to pick up fetal genetic material in this maternal blood. If they cannot do that in a sustainable and reproducible way, the test just won't be commercially viable. There are already non-invasive tests out there on the market currently to try to pick up Down syndrome, and so this test would have to outperform those by a significant margin in order to be commercially viable. If they can't demonstrate that, then there's no real value in the technology, even if the science remains valid.
Right, so this goes beyond just the delay for a year or however long. What you're saying is that investors have lost faith in the success of this test overall.
And overall, we just don't know whether they will ever be able to get it to work on a commercially viable scale, and that's really the fundamental motivation for my downgrade today.
Ram, this is John Ehrlichman. Should they have come to market with more information sooner?
I think so, and I think most investors had originally expected the internal investigation that was prompted by the original disclosure of data mishandling back at the end of April to only take a couple of months, because initially the company said only 4 employees at the research and development organization were involved. But subsequently, on yesterday's conference call, they disclosed that over 40 employees had been questioned. Now, obviously, more than 4 employees have actually left the company. So clearly the problems at Sequenom ran deeper than they had originally disclosed. And on the previous earnings call, obviously, it looked as though the original management was going to stay. They had announced plans for rollouts of additional tests for the end of this year and early next year. And so the dismissal of the CEO, while in my view perhaps long overdue, because obviously oversight failed on his watch, appears to have taken many investors by surprise.
How much faith do you have in the interim management right now? Well,
I think obviously interim management are very highly qualified individuals. They've held senior positions in management teams of large biotechnology companies. Harry Hickson is a very well-respected senior executive, and he's obviously been the head of Sequenom's board of directors since 2003. But again, obviously, the board of directors probably should have caught this problem long before it came to light in the way that it did at the end of April, because obviously the company had been falsifying data and press releases for quite some time.
A true lack of corporate governance
Exactly,
there.
Exactly. And so, also I believe that really it's out of their hands. It's really whether or not the test is actually physically capable of working. And if that's not the case, then Sequenom is going to have a problem justifying value for investors.
Ram, it's Adam Johnson here. Question, is this really a one-horse, I want to say a one-horse pony, a one-horse circus? I mean, is there another drug, another application potentially?
Well, obviously, the company just recently launched a test to detect carriers of cystic fibrosis, which is another genetic disease. But this is not a prenatal test. And the real, big kahuna here is, quite frankly, prenatal non-invasive diagnostics. Right now, there's over nearly 5 million pregnancies each year in the U.S., massive market. And, the only way to do it right now is via invasive testing like amniocentesis. So there's a major unmet need there. But if they can't demonstrate the viability of that, things like cystic fibrosis is very rare disease with limited market opportunity. In my opinion, it's not going to replace the market opportunity if they've lost.
Okay, Ram, thanks so much for joining us on this company. Very interesting development and also very worrying development as well. Raghuram Selvaraju talking about Sequenom.